You had your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Well, guess what, idiot? It's a team sport because it doesn't work. It is proven that it has not worked.
It's like, who are we going to get to play left field? Then he goes and pawns a Super Bowl ring for,
Yeah.
I don't know, a couple of Cracker Jack boxes or something, and, well, he'll probably never see that Super Bowl ring ever again.
Nope.
My question, have you gone to the Red Peppers since that time?
Oh, Rattel.
I don't want to take credit here, but I did kind of have you two meet each other and whatnot. Let me look at you now, right?
I know.
I mean, I'm almost the sole no, I'm just kidding.
Fighting Sue #1, like without a doubt.
He redeems himself.
On your car.
Put it over your mouth so you don't keep coming up with these absurd statements.
Boom!
Listen,
Boom!
he said,
Oh, go Joe Burrow.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. Go Tigers. Just dollar bill Kirill, baby. The Wilder
Money.
Army. Aaron Rodgers, shut up. Shut up. All you've done this whole time, ever since the offseason, you've been doing nothing but this.
Come together.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I had to do it. And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back. Yes, episode 96. A lot of breaking news. A lot of breaking news here on MinneZona Sports Live. We've got, first of all, we've got the big news with JimHarbaugh. We got the big news everywhere and anywhere going on here on MinneZona Sports Live. But without further ado, I'm your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callahan, a.k.a. Callie, a.k.a. Matty C, etc., 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 and all the way from Woods and Shore Studios in Aiken, Minnesota, Paul Voldy, Shield. What's going on, Shield?
Cool.
All right, so, Shield, let's get it going with some Tater Tot. I already started Tater Tot, let's start Tater Tot Hot Take real quick, so let's go.
All right, let's frickin'...
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
All right, Voldy, the big news out of Minnesota, obviously, is John Harbaugh is staying at Michigan.
Yes.
There's that, but also we have breaking news that we also have brought up as well. KevinOConnell has emerged as the favorite in Minnesota, according to Adam Schefter, according to Tom Powell. All of the insiders are saying Kevin is now the favorite over Harbaugh and Graham and Morris and whatnot. So, Voldy, before we, hopefully we keep you on here with the Skype. Skype is really not helping us right now. But what are your thoughts on the breaking news? I mean, news after news. What do you got?
Well, I mean, I'm just happy that's not going to be John Harbaugh. For some reason, it just didn't rub me the right way that JimHarbaugh. Yeah. I mean, I'd honestly take John Harbaugh at this point.
Yeah,
JimHarbaugh would have been, I think just a bad move for the Vikings. It obviously would have been a flash in the pan kind of situation, but I just think that what he's got going on in Michigan, I think this year would have definitely been the year for him. Because obviously this year, win the big championship and you get blown out in the in the playoff or whatever. Sure. But now going into like his 5th, 6th year or something there, now it's going to be a lot more building for his program there at Michigan. But going back to the NFL, I feel like wouldn't have been so much a step up for his career at that point, because he's already coaching at his alma mater, Power 5 conference school and everything. So I think it just would have been a bad move for him wise. And I don't know how much it would have worked him, and especially with the returning players to the Vikings. So honestly, I just didn't like the idea of Jim Harbaugh being head coach for the Vikings.
I agree. We have the zoners chiming in, so let's quick get Jack's loving your Brady jersey. He has a matching one, by the way, and we'll have more on Brady here for Voldy's Virtues, by the way. So we have that going on. All right, staying at Michigan, then what was the point? Well, Easy A, I think it's best summed up as as him trying to find a way back to the NFL. I think at first he was all in on being head coach of the Vikings, which, okay, that's fine. But I think something changed today. And I don't know if it was just the interview. I don't know if it was him being, if it was just, it just didn't work. I think it was one of those things where people expected this to get done. I had a lower third prepared to say John Harbaugh is the new head coach of the Minnesota Vikings.
Yikes.
But that didn't happen. Now, I did that because it was heading down that road. You and I both were chatting before the show saying, I'm surprised it didn't happen, but it didn't. He wants to go back to Michigan. Fine, go back to Michigan. Because I said at the beginning of the show, while we were trying to get you back, Voldy, is Jim Harbaugh. Gosh, we're going to keep doing this. This is crazy. But
believe me, I screwed up the whole show to begin with, so this is just par for the goddamn course right now. So,
no kidding. But Jim Harbaugh, I think, is a little bit of a wild card. Sometimes he is erratic in his behavior, and I just think we have to, look at this situation and say, okay, let's bring him in. Let's see if he's going to play ball here. I think there was something they didn't like. I think Kwesi was in on the interview as well. I know he's worked with Jim Harbaugh before, but it doesn't look like it was a match made. People thought, oh my God, Jim Harbaugh, we're getting Jim Harbaugh. Oh my gosh, this is going to be so great. We're going to be so good. Let's pump the brakes. I am one of those people that pumped the brakes. You, Voldy, were one of those people that pumped the brakes on Jim Harbaugh. It's not a match made in heaven because we don't know how he's going to act. Now, I know there are people that think that this could be a really good relationship between GM, but he has a history of button heads here. Maybe the Wolves didn't want that. Maybe the Wolves thought, everything's true about what they say about him, button heads with front office people and whatnot. He likes to coach, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I was in the camp of if he gets hired, okay, let's see what happens, prove me wrong,
right?
Type of deal. But now that it's over, I mean, I'm not shedding a lot of tears. Some people are. I mean, if you look at Twitter right now, it is a cesspool of people being upset, which then again, I really don't care because it's Twitter.
What makes today any difference?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a head coach. He didn't want to come here. That's fine. We're not going to sit back and cry about it because we didn't get Jim Harbaugh.
And look, a lot of things can still happen too. I mean, Kevin O'Connell, that deal is not signed yet. A lot can still happen between now and after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. And this isn't – everyone thought this was a done deal today. It's for sure a done deal. He's going there. He's getting it. He's going to sign the papers. You're going to have a press conference tomorrow. No, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. He just told Michigan, I'm coming back. And which is interesting to me because they did cut his pay now, Voldy, with Michigan. So you thought he'd be like, screw those guys. I'm moving on here. But I'm fine with the O'Connell thing. I really am, because I think we needed an offensive coordinator that can be a little bit innovative, and I think he will be. But, again, a lot remains to be seen with Kevin O'Connell. But, Voldy, now that we're getting the news about O'Connell, what are your thoughts on him, and do you think he'd make a good fit?
Again, I'm going to reference to a tweet about, obviously the beginning of the head coach's search. I'm more than comfortable to Google whoever the Vikings pick as head coach because I know absolutely nothing about Kevin O'Connell. All I know is that he was offensive coordinator for the LA Rams and under head coach Sean McVay, who is a offensive guy. Apparently he has to be good enough to fill those shoes. I mean, personally, I would have looked at a little bit more to Raheem Morris, who's got that head coaching pedigree under his belt. But Kevin O'Connell, it's one of those. Let's see how it works, and the way the offense for the Rams has done this past year, last couple of years too. I wouldn't be very surprised to see a lot of that translate here to the Vikings too, with especially having veteran quarterback, young receiving core as well, and obviously some experience in the receiving core, running game as well, to see how that can translate and see if any of those offensive tools from the last couple of years from the Rams go into this Viking system too.
Yeah. Easy A's got a pretty good quote here. I have something here too. Something didn't go well in Viking territory. So surprising. Get used to disappointment. Yeah, that's
right.
True. I mean, if you're disappointed, yeah, fine. Let me read a tweet by Paul Charchian here. Okay. Half the reason the Vikings fans got so emotionally entrenched in JimHarbaugh was because we knew him. We don't know nearly much about O'Connell.
Exactly.
Let me give you a couple head coaches here that we didn't know much about before they were hired. Sean McVay, Zach Taylor, Matt LaFleur.
Yep.
Just throwing that out there. Even though the Packer deal, but we can't go into panic mode here. We just can't. Okay? Yeah. It's like he's that big of a name. Oh, JimHarbaugh is that big of a name. But there are some guys that I think can, make some waves here. And granted, McVay calls the plays. Okay, we get that. But you got to think that O'Connell has had some input on a lot of this in the offense. I mean, you can't just have an offensive coordinator going like this. I mean, Bieniemy, Andy Reid. I mean, it's a lethal duo, and it very well could be with O'Connell. Not saying that he's going to be the greatest Viking coach of all time. It remains to be seen. We have to play the games first. We have to hire first, and it might not even be O'Connell. Now the Pat Graham situation too. I have a hard time believing that they're going to hire him as head coach. Granted, the guy's was that defensive coordinator, or is the defensive coordinator with the New York Giants. Now, the Giants are a team that you can't fully invest your... I mean, granted, he's on a crappy team, but a lot of the players do respect him. I read up on him. He's very good with players and whatnot. Why not hire him as a defensive coordinator for us? I mean, I don't see a reason why not. Or... you keep Andre Patterson, but that, like we said, there's a lot, especially with Kubiak going to Denver as QB coach. So Clint Kubiak is out and whatnot. But Voldy, I think you and I are in agreement here. I think with this Harbaugh news, we're not as fazed by it. Some Vikings fans are right now on Twitter. Some, maybe even some zoners. And if you guys give us your thoughts on the recent news of JimHarbaugh going back to Michigan and the Kevin O'Connell emerging as the front runner for the Minnesota Vikings head coaching position. Things can't happen until the season's over because O'Connell's preparing for a Super Bowl. Raheem Morris is preparing for a Super Bowl as well. And Graham, well, I think it was probably...
just sitting on his couch right now.
Yeah, he's probably like, I'm probably not getting this job anyway. Unless he wants to come over as a defensive coordinator. So, we'll see.
Right.
But we have one more thing I wanted to go over to, Voldy. We got to the breaking news. Let's get to the Minnesota... We haven't talked about the Timberwolves in a while.
No, we haven't.
Now, there's this guy. Here's a guy, as Chris Collinsworth would like to say, AnthonyEdwards. AnthonyEdwards, my friend, has been amazing. He is always a good time. He's always joking around. He's always, messing around with the media. He's always messing around with his teammates. and whatnot. But Anthony Edwards, it has been just amazing this season. Now, he's just full of sound bites. He's full of energy. I mean, he's averaging 22.7 points per game, 5.1 rebounds, and he's shooting 36% from the field as well. I think from 3-point range. This keeps loading on me. Stop it! But he's been a beast. Now, he did say that he wants to be face of the league. He said he was black. Not only that, he said he was Black Jesus out there sometimes too. God. Voldy, let me ask you this. Let me ask the zoners this. Do you think Anthony Edwards could be the face of the league in these next few years? What do you think?
Could he be the face of the league? I could see it.
Okay.
I could honestly see it. A lot of guys in the backside of their careers right now that are, guys that are faces of the league. James Harden, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. Obviously, they're still playing an extremely high level, but they're certainly not getting any younger. Ant's only in his second season, and, well, if he keeps putting up the numbers the way that he can, I mean, wouldn't be surprised they start putting him in that same category as well. Obviously, all those other guys have a lot of playoff and pedigree of championship runs in them as well. That's a different story with Ant Edwards, as long as the Timberwolves remain who the Timberwolves are as well. But there's definitely a lot of things that can be said. I mean, if it was back in the day that Kevin Garnett played in a major market, he for certain would have been the face of the league, no doubt about that. But he played in Minnesota, put up the numbers that he did. Obviously, that one run back in 2004, 2003-2004 Western Conference Finals was the marquee of his career in Minnesota. But, I don't see it as being too outlandish. I think it's got my stamp of approval for Ant saying that he could be the face of the league, no doubt about it.
He's got the right mentality. And the reason why I put that, and, appreciate Amber, impressive stats happening. Exactly. I mean, the guy, he's been as advertised. And there are people, and Munson was one of them. I will say this. Cole Munson was one of those people that say, I'm not fully sold on Ant Edwards, but it's the safe pick and everything like that. Well, guess what? It's very similar to how Justin Jefferson has been with the Vikings. I mean, it really is. And Ant is a guy that wants to win. And people think that, Ant's got all these sound bites. He's just a funny guy and everything like that. No, this guy wants to win. His quote, his quote that he said in this, he says, I want to be an all-star. I want to go deep in the playoffs. Definitely past the first round. In 5 years, I want to be the face of the league and have a couple of MVPs by then and have a ring.
Jeez.
In 5 years, I would expect to go to the finals for sure. Well, there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
That's a tall order.
Yeah, but we can both agree
order.
There's a lot of things that need to be done with this Timberwolves team.
Right.
But with the right coaching, and I think Chris Finch has done a great job with this team. I mean, they're just above 500. And a lot of people are expecting this team just to be bad, right? But it's still the Wolves, right? It's still the Wolves. But again, we'll have Aroyd and Mark Lowry take over here in about a year or two or whatever it is, however this weird deal is. But this Timberwolves team looks different. We like watching this team. It's giving a lot of T-Wolves fans hope, and it should. It really should with Ant. And the reason why I brought this up is because, I mean, we've got a guy that has been the most impactful. And all due respect to Cat and guys that have come before him, I mean, us drafting Anthony Edwards is very similar, if not better, than when, Kevin Garnett was with the Wolves. And it has proven these first 2 years that this guy's the real deal. I want Anthony Edwards to get a lifetime contract right now. I hope. we'll see. A lot of things can happen. I mean, the guy's not even. I think he just turned 20 or something like that, and he's already taken the league by storm. And people are like, oh, he just wants to play football and all this and all that. Well, apparently not. From our viewpoint here. So there's that going on too. But the Wolves, they've been on a hot streak. I think they've won 4 in a row or something like that. AnthonyEdwards being a beast, obviously. So we'll keep in tune with that. And the next soundbite that Ant has, we'll make sure maybe we can add it to our soundbar, Voldy. I think that'd be a fun thing with Ant. But he's a real deal, guys. Real deal. And you know who also is the real deal? Perfect segue. The GOAT. TFB. Tom Brady. Voldy. I know it's been tough for you, man. I know it's but I think we said this last week. We knew this was coming. Just because, it's what else does he have to prove, right? But Voldy has been thinking about this literally ever since, I don't know, Monday when you said, what are we doing for special segment? I'm like, it's obviously the Brady thing. So, Voldy, you've been working on it for all day, all night, and whatnot. So let's get it going. Let's head to the Temple of Wisdom for Voldy's virtues.
He has emerged from the Temple of Wisdom. Gather round for Voldy's virtues.
All right, it is time for Voldy's virtues. We are in the Temple of Wisdom. It is an ode to the GOAT, Tom Brady, TFB, Voldy's guy. Voldy, please, the floor is yours, my good sir.
Well, first, I just want to say before I go into official statement on the retirement of Tom Brady that I spent over an hour last night writing up a little something to surmise my feelings on the retirement of Tom Brady that did basically end up being a letter addressed to Tom Brady. So forewarning, and be sure to have the Kleenex handy because there will be some tears flowing by the end of this. So
here we go.
First off, I just want to say this hashtag ThankYouTom to Thomas Edward Patrick Brady, Tommy, hashtag TFB, the GOAT. Upon hearing your official retirement from the NFL, there were a lot of emotions that went through my mind. As the saying goes, all good things must come to an end. And I know that this may be a little much, but my feelings about your career have been marred by ridicule and riding the highs and lows of being any pro sports fan. One of the earliest memories I have of your career was watching Super Bowl 36, which you led the New England Patriots to an upset victory over the greatest show on turf, St. Louis Rams. I didn't know it at the time, but that would not be the only time that our paths would cross each other purely by incident in the grand scope of life and sports. For a good while in my life, I shunned sports completely out of my life and in my youth to a point, coupled with ongoing personal issues and an anger problem that had me kicked out of school numerous times. One Sunday, Super Bowl 42, I found myself watching the game not knowing that you were riding the greatest season in the NFL history, personally and with your team one game away from going undefeated. We unfortunately know that had what that game had came to be, but along with the Patriots and with other actions as well, sparked my love for sports once again, and I had never looked back. From your performance on the field, you've turned to names like Wes Welker, Deion Branch, Benjamin Watson, Julian Edelman, Danny Woodhead, Ben Jarvis Green Ellis, The Law Firm, Rob and Dan Gronkowski, Michael O'Manawanui, my personal favorite, LeGarrette Blunt, hashtag Blunt Force Trauma, James White, a.k.a. Jimmy Blanco, Sweet Feet, Chris Hogan, Danny Amendola, Chris Godwin, Tyler Johnson, Scotty Miller, and Ronald Jones Jr. into household names and players that have become personal favorites of mine as well. After your first Super Bowl win in 2001, your wins in 2003 and 2004 have escaped my mind, but others have held strong significance in my life. Following those abysmal losses to the Giants, both of which were flukes, but we don't have time to get into that right now. I didn't know that there would be a chance in my life to live down to be a full-fledged supporter of you and your team. Super Bowl 49. I remember sitting in my college apartment, lights off, as Seattle took the ball down the field down to the 2-yard line. I mentally prepared myself for another round of backlash in person and on social media, but Malcolm Butler had other plans and made it your 4th Super Bowl ring as well. Jumping out of my chair and nearly punching a wall, the wave of emotion was palpable from the first true moment in celebrating your real success on the field. Super Bowl 51. I was invited to a coworker's family's house on Lake Herman in Madison, South Dakota, to where the day was full of fun, food, and getting acquainted with people that I barely knew, as I had been working with KJAM radio for only 6 months. P.S. I do want to say a big thank you forever for Doug and Charlotte Gross, who allowed me into their home and for their hospitality. Unfortunately, Doug passed away a couple years ago, so rest in peace, Doug, and my thoughts and always with the Gross family as well. As the game kicked off, the score became way more favored towards Atlanta, and I found myself inching further and further away from the TV toward the kitchen, which is on the other side of the room. Down 28-3 in the third, I'd fully ditched your jersey, this one that I'm wearing right now, Patriots sweatshirt, but still had on the hat and the Super Bowl 49 championship long sleeve shirt, which I still have to this day. As scoring drives for your team started to string together closer and closer to the TV, I found myself once again. Game-tying drive, the 2-point conversion, and the overtime drive, I was on my knees inches from the TV with people that I barely knew watching me more than the game itself, and nothing but pure elation overwhelming every orifice of my body when James White took the sweep off the right side of the line of scrimmage and inched his way to cap off the greatest victory in Super Bowl history. Super Bowl 52, we will gloss over, but I do wish that you could have won the Super Bowl in my home state, as I was in Madison, South Dakota, getting hammered with my wife and eating way too much bar food with friends at the greatest sports bar in the world, Sporty's. Super Bowl 53 was another redemption arc for the victory, besides the fact that the game was a snoozer. But hey, any chance to beat the Rams is always a good day in my book. Moving on to an important moment in your career, March 17th, 2020. You announce you're leaving New England. Again, a lot of emotions and uncertainty. But finding out that you are going to Tampa Bay was an interesting notion to root for you, while seeing how the Patriots would fare without you in the locker room. On paper, there was no way that this was going to be a downer for the Bucs. I had predicted that you were going to take the Bucs deep into the postseason, but I wasn't going to put all my eggs in one basket for how deep of a playoff run that would be. Your first season in Tampa, going on the road for every playoff game and winning, being the first team in Super Bowl history to win in your home stadium, was unreal. The 2020 season was especially significant in my life because I had found out that I was going to be an uncle, and weeks later finding out that I was going to be a father as well. This is also from the same woman who told me I was going to be a father, that she would, quote, cheer for Tom Brady in her wedding vows to me. Believe me, she's a keeper in every sense of the word. But getting back to your season, what a year it was to watch. I'm sure only you could have predicted how the year would have turned out, with you winning your 7th Super Bowl title and first with another team. The end is just the beginning, and the end of the 2021-22 season was not the way I'm sure you wanted to finish. Whether it was in the navy and silver, red with the Patriot pat on the side of your white helmet, color rush, hashtag pewter power, or seeing the white jerseys in the Super Bowl, presence on the field was never missed by those who saw or who watched it or saw you in person. My only regret is that I never got to see you play in person, and now I'll never get that chance. I know that off the field, you keep yourself plenty busy with the Brady brand, crypto trading, the TB12 method, pliability, being a father, husband, entrepreneur, and humanitarian. But now that your presence on the field will be missed by many, including one fan that got a jolt back into the world of sports during a difficult time in figuring out who they are in life, being yours truly. Please know that your legacy as a winner, no matter what the naysayers put out there, is not measured in 1, not 2, not 3, but 7 Super Bowl titles, and all the records that bear your name right next to it. With all that being said, there's only one thing left to say. Hashtag ThankYouTom. Sincerely, Paul D. Vold, The Shield.
Wow. There's applause going out and everything like that. That was very well done, Voldy. We got to make sure we get this to TFB, our guy, TomBrady, the GOAT.
We do.
If he wants to come on the show, he's more than welcome to. We could get that set up. But Voldy, very well done. It's one of those things where you and I were kind of, talking last week about this, and what else does he have to prove? I mean, go through another offseason, get your body right, get your mind right. I think he wants to do other things. He wants to be with his family, and he'll have plenty to do. And I don't think this is the last you're going to see of TomBrady within a football, setting. I think somehow, some way he's going to be incorporated. There's some people that think he might turn to coaching. Voldy, do you think that's possible?
I don't know, maybe about the whole coaching side, but definitely maybe in a front office, maybe ownership kind of role somewhere.
Yeah.
Been hearing some, obviously he's got enough money to burn and other things too. Peyton Manning's trying to get into an ownership group that's trying to make a ploy at the Denver Broncos, I think, heard as late. But I definitely wouldn't be against seeing TomBrady in an ownership role in the right team too. So, there are definitely a lot of options out there on the table for him.
As the Curve Doctor would like to say, there are options. We've got options.
Exactly.
So TomBrady's got plenty. The guy's set for life. He doesn't have to worry about nothing. So, but like I said, I tweeted this as well, Voldy. In my early years, I was like, the Patriots win too much. Whatever. I don't like this. You just got to learn to respect, like, hey, this is greatness you're looking at here, honestly.
Exactly.
And it's one thing to, put into perspective. I respect the hell out of him. Obviously, you being a fan of him your whole life and whatnot, whereas, I've been in disappointment with these Minnesota Vikings my whole life. But even though we got gypped in 2009, but still with TomBrady, you got to appreciate greatness. It's impressive he's played this long and was able to win a Super Bowl at 40, was it 42, 43, 41? Can't remember. But
sounds about right.
Yeah, we'll go with that. In the 40s.
In his 40s.
Yeah, in his 40s. He throws it, and obviously they almost came back in that game. I think if Brady, if they didn't have such a poor first half, I think they would have beat the Rams. But, we're probably talking about Brady in the Super Bowl, but it made sense, but the whole deal with Schefter tweeting out that he's out and all these other guys, like, good Lord, like, what's going on here? Is he going? Is he not going? Like, what the hell? So, I don't know. But well done, sir. Definitely it's going to be weird not seeing TomBrady out there. And whatnot. I think Rodgers is jumping for joy right about now, just being
last man standing.
Yeah. Well, he's gonna have to,
maybe.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with him. But then again, I don't care. He's a clown anyway. All right, let's move on to ARA. We've got still some NFL news to get to. As well as some MLB. There's been some rumors about them delaying spring training here. So, MLB doing the same crap as always. So, let's get it going with some absurd or approved.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
All right, it is time for Absurd or Approved. So, Voldy, why don't you rattle it off for us, please?
Well, we jump right into the big game coming up here at next Sunday in a battle of the most liked quarterbacks in the NFL. It's going to be Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams taking on Joe Burrow, that is, and the Cincinnati Bengals. Super Bowl 56 at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, and we take a look here at the matchup as well. And obviously, both teams deserving to be there as well, with the upset-minded Bengals punching their ticket to the Super Bowl after knocking off the defending AFC champs, that being the Kansas City Chiefs, in overtime this past Sunday, while the Los Angeles Rams as well had their fair share, and they definitely won the right way and getting a win over the San Francisco 49ers, even after snapping 6 consecutive losses to the Niners, a win for the Rams as well. So it's going to be the Rams. It's going to be the Bengals for the Super Bowl. Looking at the matchup based off the postseason thus far and the performance this past Sunday, DJ Matty C, what you got in the Super Bowl? Who do you think is going to win?
Well, it's funny you bring that up because I have breaking news, by the way, too. We're just getting breaking news left and right. But remember when we did the Super Bowl special last year?
Yeah.
We're going to do it again. The Shield,
That's right.
The Shield, myself, are going to do the Super Bowl special. We're feeling good about it. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to do a lot of things that we did last year. Maybe we do some new things. We'll think of some ideas. But that's the big news. And then the other big news is Papa Callahan's been keeping me in tune with what's going on the socials with the hirings and whatnot, but he's saying that KevinOConnell's got my stamp of approval, and
of course he does.
I hope that they finalize that deal after the Super Bowl. So let's go. But let's get to Super Bowl now. You asked me who I got. Now, Voldy,
what you got?
This could change, I think, because we'll make our final picks for the Super Bowl special. But as it stands right now, this is how I look at it. I'm not going to give a score. I'm just going to give you the team. And then, Voldy, I want you to do the same for yours. But writing off of what Joe Burrow did in the Kansas City Chiefs, a lot of people thought, well, there's no way they're beating the Chiefs. I was one of those people. I thought the Chiefs were going to win. And it looked like it was going to be a blowout in the first half, but they came back. They made their defensive adjustments and whatnot, and they came through. The LA Rams, they finally beat the 49ers after losing to them twice in the regular season. Matt Stafford going to a Super Bowl. Who would have thunk that? So you have two teams, one of them trying to say, why not us? Another team saying, we're all in this season. We want to get the Super Bowl. We added the piece that we should have with Matt Stafford and Von Miller and, obviously Donald, Ramsey, all that. Voldy, there is something about this Bengals team. I don't know what it is, but I tell you what. I got the Bengals.
Wow.
Beating the LA Rams in the Super Bowl. I like what I see from this team. These young guys are amazing. Jamar Chase, clutch. The way that I saw Joe Burrow come back in that second half, you don't see from a lot of people. Okay, Joe Burrow, coming off of an injury after his rookie season and doing what he did, I got the Bengals, man. I mean, this could change. Don't get me wrong. This could change. I have the Cincinnati Bengals winning the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow, he's going to be a good football player. Coach thinks he's going to be a good football player. Go Tigers. Or go Bengals in this case. But I got the Bengals. But this could change. Voldy, what do you think?
Man, that's a heck of an argument right there. I definitely respect the run that the Bengals have had. Joe Burrow in only his second season. I mean, if you want to look at it, he's barely had a full season under his belt because he got hurt in the in like the second half of the season last year with that knee injury. In fact, that he came back to start on time for the beginning of the year is amazing within itself. Young head coach and Zach Taylor, pretty much a no-name defense. Couple of guys they've picked up in the last couple of years. young receiving core as well. T. Higgins, obviously Jamar Chase as well. It's hard not to pick them, and I respect the fact that you put yourself out there for the Bengals.
Might as well.
I'm looking at this star power they got on the other side of the field.
No, I get that.
Joe Bag of Donuts University himself, Cooper Kupp, Eastern Washington on the Blood Turf Field. I mean, out of the FCS, they're a wagon within itself back in the day, not too long ago. But Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham Jr., you've got the running tandem. Cam Akers kind of coming his way back. Sony Michel as well, Super Bowl champ, by the way, led by a guy coming into this season had something to prove, that the fact that he wasn't just stinking it up in Detroit because it was his fault. Yeah. Matthew Stafford, and obviously he had that great comeback after the Tampa Bay Bucks came back to tie the game, down 27-3, leads the game-winning drive with 41 seconds left, I think it was, gets the game-winning field goal in there as well in that last drive, and then punches his ticket to the Super Bowl in his first season with a new team. Sounds pretty familiar from what we've been talking about so far here on the show, with another quarterback that went to a new team in a year and took home the big hardware in their home stadium too. Look, either way, I don't think anyone's going to be mad on which team wins. I just think, looking at the overall body of work on the defensive side for the LA Rams, they got beat up a little bit at the start of the game as well. Weren't getting a lot of pressure. Von Miller was pretty quiet. Yeah. But when they needed a play at the end, Aaron Donald, who had been held in check, got through, forced pressure, an interception leading to a touchdown, and icing the game from that point too. Jalen Ramsey, obviously, a term we like to throw out on the shows a lot is burnt toast, to say the least. Isn't the same Jalen Ramsey from the old Saxonville days a few years back, but still formidable, wants to show up when he can. And I guess when the lights are the brightest, he might show up as well. I just think that defense that's got late life in them in LA is going to be a big difference for them. So I'm picking the Rams in their home stadium for the Super Bowl.
All right. We got to be different. We were different last year with the Bucs and the Chiefs as well. So, but this could change. This could change come our Super Bowl special. So we'll definitely keep in tune with that. Papa Callahan or Mama Callahan / Papa Callahan, who's probably chiming in on this. The poor play calling and lousy defense cost the Chiefs. Yeah, but also the ineffectiveness of the offense too. I look at
the second half.
Yeah, and the Bengals were able to adjust defensively, whereas, they thought that they could get it done, but they couldn't. Eric Bieniemy will be staying in KC next year. His head coach chances went down after last Sunday, which could be very true, but
wasn't his fault. Yeah. Andy Reid's calling all the plays.
Right. Let's factor this in, okay? Let's factor this in, too, because this is recent as well. I think, was it last night or this morning? I can't remember. Brian Flores puts out the lawsuit for the NFL, accusing 3 teams of racism. The Giants, the Dolphins, and what was the third team? I can't remember. Is this,
hopefully not the Vikings.
Not the Vikings, because he didn't interview. But there's going to be some black. There's only one African American coach in the NFL right now, and that's Mike Tomlin. So that's factored in too. But I think with how things have gone with Bieniemy, I think that's very possible in itself. But we'll see. I think Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Leonard Floyd, Von Miller, and the Rams defense will cause Joe Burrow problems, which is very true. I think that's very possible. And I think I do like what I see from their defense. I mean, their defense has been balling all year. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Go Bengals for the former intern guy, Trevor Service. Appreciate you chiming in there, Trev. But yeah, I like the Bengals. I really do. Chiefs had the ball in the red zone twice and did not score. Not good, as we like to say here on MinneZona Sports Live, and it hasn't been good. But what can you do, right? What can you do? But we'll see what happens. as we get Shield back as well, hopefully. And
Okay.
here we
Still
go.
here?
Here we go. All right, we're back. So, Voldy, let's get to the next one before we lose you again here. So, next one, please.
Well, the next one I thought maybe going to be more of a situation if Josh McDaniels is actually going to make the flight before turning around to interview with the Las Vegas Raiders. But it seems that the conversation went well because Josh McDaniels is head coach for the Las Vegas Raiders coming up this season with now director of player personnel Dave Ziegler for the New England Patriots being hired as the general manager on this Sunday. So kind of changing up my question a little bit here for this. Based off what we know of Josh McDaniels, his past head coach experience, his flakiness when he was going to go to Indianapolis, but then turned halfway around to go back to New England. Are we going to see success with McDaniels out in Las Vegas with the team into this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think, remember, like you said, with Indianapolis, I think that was a place where he just kind of backtracked and was like, oh, I'm out of here, bye. But I also look at it, and I mean, it's a good situation, to be honest with you, for him. Las Vegas, it's a big market. You have a loyal fan base with the Raiders, even though they've moved to Las Vegas. But he's got experience. He's been with the Patriots for a long time, and the offense is going to look pretty nice. Now the question is, what are you going to do with Derek Carr? I mean, I think that he's been unproven too, but it comes down to how is he going to deal with this Raiders squad, especially after this. I mean, they went to the playoffs with Bisaccia or whatever his name is.
Bisaccia, yeah.
McDaniels has been that good as an offensive coordinator. Now he gets another shot at head coach. I think he is going to do a great job. I think he is going to be a guy that you can rely on. But also, I mean, we've seen what happened before with him, with the Broncos. Now, I don't think history will repeat itself in that, but with the Indianapolis Colts, that's one thing as well. So I guess we'll see. But I'd say it's got my stamp of approval. I think he's going to help this Raiders squad. I still think they need a little bit of tweaks, even though they were a playoff team. But this is a good situation for Josh McDaniels. So, Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm here.
He's here. Okay. We're gonna use the good old we're gonna use the phone method here, so we get you. All right. What do you got on McDaniels?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the right consistency that they need, unfortunately, for the Raiders, given the fact that they were a playoff team. And the fact that, Bisaccia did as good of a job as they did in the interim. Obviously, there's a lot of question marks what Derek Carr is going to do this offseason and whether he's going to come back. I mean, they still do have Marcus Mariota in the mix, too, but I don't know if he's a guy you can really build your franchise around now at this point in his career. But I think McDaniels taking over the helm is going to provide the right amount of, cohesiveness and consistency that they need at a head coaching spot, because he's been a head coach before. Obviously, in Denver, it didn't work out so well. He's helped out, he's been with the Patriots, helped out with the Rams as well. And, obviously getting that offense to the next level, I think is going to be huge for them with McDaniels at the helm.
Yep, totally agree with you. And I think, he gets his second shot. And I think, you and I both think that he's going to do it the right way. And, it's going to work out for him. He was with Belichick. I'm sure he's picked up a few things since then. So, all right, next one, Voldy.
Yeah, we talk about the big news that was probably leaked out at least 24 hours before, less than 24 hours before it actually happened. The Washington football team on Groundhog Day, February 2nd, 2022, has now picked a new mascot, if you will, a new brand for them as well. Now known as the Washington Commanders. The commies are in the nation's capital with the Washington football team now being known as the Commanders. Of course, their name being unveiled. That was also taking place on the Today Show as well. But after 87 years, the Washington Commanders are now rocking, pretty much the same color scheme, although bringing in black uniforms as well. Maybe something that the Vikings should possibly look at as well. Given the choices of the other 7, I think there was up to 8 different options they could have gone with, including football team. What do you think of the choice for Washington to go with the Commanders as their new name?
Yeah, well, it's, what my question is, and I asked this to the zoners too, is why the hell did it take 2 years for them to figure out a freaking name? And this is what they come up with the stinking Commanders. I mean, for goodness sake, what the hell, man? I mean, it made no sense whatsoever. It took them that long, but not only that, Voldy, but they had it leaked. They had it leaked way before they were going to reveal it. I mean, good Lord, can't you guys keep something a secret? And this is exactly why that the Washington Commanders are the situation that they're in. Because Dan Snyder's still their owner, and they clearly took this process to come up, we're going to go with Commanders. It took us 2 years, but we're going to go with the Commanders, which doesn't make sense. But I think there's a whole slew of better names. And again, I mean, the jerseys are meh. I'm just going to put it like that, meh. So I think it's absurd. I think they could have come up with a better name, like the I know the Sentinels have kind of been taken, but I still think that would have been a good name, the Sentinels. I think that would have been the name, but then again, we can't get what we want in this situation. So, Voldy, what do you think?
I'm just upset that my suggestion of the Washington dumpster fires wasn't taken into serious consideration for their new name, because they already got the color scheme. They've got the red, they've got the yellow. All they need to throw in is a little bit of maybe some brown in there for all the crap that they've been dealing with for the last handful of years, or basically since Dan Snyder's been at the helm of that ownership. But am I the only one that thinks that they look like Arizona State with their uniforms now?
I don't think.
With the Commanders, it sounds like they should be the XFL version of the Washington football team. Because let's be honest, the Commanders doesn't invoke a lot of prominence and established play with the National Football League. It sounds like some sort of bad take of an arena team, or obviously too with the XFL.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they had an XFL team too. It was like the DC Defenders or something, or was it the Sentinels? I can't remember. That was such a long time ago in my mind.
Yeah.
Given the other choices they had, unfortunately, I think Commanders was the best route that they could go, given the fact that, well, all the other real consideration that they probably had was taken off because that one guy who owns all the copyrights and all the trademarks for all those other names, too.
Yeah, and I get all the copyright stuff, I get all that, but also I just, it's one thing to have, it take 2 years. You guys could have easily figured out a better way to find the name, and it shouldn't take that long. It really shouldn't take that long. So, same old Washington team. So we'll leave it like that for that one. I mean, we've always been on them about stuff, and deservedly so, I should say. But oh well. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, Major League Baseball, we'll talk about the fact that possibly their season continues to be delayed for the start of the year, but Major League Baseball is not going to require minor league players to be vaccinated against COVID to play in 2022, but will mandate on-field staff working with players to be, quote, up to date on vaccinations, and that was in a memo that was sent Thursday morning, this past week, I should say, to teams in the minor league system. And obviously, minor league teams have no bearing on what the major league season is going to be. A lot of them are going to be starting on time for the beginning of the year. But the league has considered mandating vaccinations across the minor leagues, but it would have caused players to have done it without their consent because workplace conditions are not governed, I should say, by the current collective bargaining agreement like major leaguers. So looking at the situation as a whole for minor league baseball players to begin the season here, which won't be too much further down the road, is it absurd or approve minor league baseball having is it absurd or approve that minor league baseball could face numerous shutdowns this season due to COVID and possible outbreaks during the season itself?
Oh, I think there's no question about it. The reason why I say that is because it's been proven, if you're not vaccinated, you put yourself at risk at getting the virus for one, and also, going to the hospital and possibly dying. So just throwing that out there too. The stats show people get vaccinated, get boosted, all that stuff. That's just my opinion on it. But they won't require MLB won't require the minor leaguers to, and I just think there'd be a lot of pushback. And no matter what you guys believe, to be completely honest with people, like if you don't get vaccinated, I'm not going to judge you. I just think it's one of those things where it's like, man, stats show if you're vaxxed, you are only going to go up to a mild case and or have no symptoms at all. Just throwing that out there. But I think this puts the less pressure on these guys to be like, you got to get vaccinated, because some of these players won't respond well to that. And we've seen from people from the NFL, we've seen people from, the NBA, Kyrie Irving. There's just a whole lot of things, factored into it. But just get the jab. That's all I ask. Just get the jab. But to answer your question, it's got my stamp of approval. I think there might be some shutdowns if people are like, oh good, I don't have to go get vaccinated, and then all of a sudden contract COVID, then you're out for a couple, and then the next guy, then the guy who's probably vaccinated and boosted gets it, and then he's out for just do what they're telling you at this point. That is my thoughts on it. Zoners, please let us know what you think too. But I think there's going to be guys that'll take advantage of this. Maybe there are guys who'll be like, oh, I'm not required to, but I'm still going to do it. So there's that. So, Voldy, what do you got?
Obviously it's going to be inevitable too, because even looking at the fact around 88% of the guys from last year were vaccinated during the season, and according to a league official, that number was mirrored at the major league level as well. But obviously a lot of things have happened since then. Let's just, obviously people have their own choice. It's your life. You can screw it up how you want to, but if you want to be able to keep doing what you're doing and be able to get past this thing, look, it's one small sacrifice. It's one vaccine. It's not going to, it literally is going to be a big help in the grand scheme of everything. How do you think all the other countries have been able to get back to, somewhat of a normal, resonance in life, just because people have put aside their own personal beliefs and done the greater good as well. Looking at the pro sports level, Major League Baseball has the benefit of it being in a time of month where people aren't huddled around each other to stay warm. They're not indoors as much because, with it being the summer months, that is a big benefit. Minor League Baseball as well. I think that's a big help too. But, possible shutdowns, there could be opportunities like we did see with the 2020 season where there's going to be a lot of double headers. There's going to be shutdowns of teams for 2 weeks and playing, 20 games and 15 days, or sometimes 20 games in 11 days or something like that. Yeah. That's just going to be one thing that's going to have to be a part of it as well. I think possible COVID shutdowns is a real thing, and it's probably going to happen given the fact that they're going to be able to start on time with everything going on in the minor league baseball realm, and possibly, hopefully, getting starting soon, because I could use a little bit of baseball right now.
Yeah, I think a lot of people could too. But it's, it kind of factors into our next, ARA too, which I think, I just think it's that simple. Just do what they're asking. It's nothing, it's not like they're trying to control you or anything like that. But if you don't get it, I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to, throw you under the bus and be like, you're not vaccinated. Ah. It's just the stats show it, man. That's all we got to say. Just throwing it out there. But, all right. Yeah. Kind of let's Skype right now. Screw Skype right now. We're not happy with you guys.
Oh, hell no. Screw Skype.
Yeah. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, of course, piggyback off minor league baseball, Major League Baseball and the Players Association did meet on Tuesday, but nothing really came out of it, which is also going to be almost ensuring a delay to the start of spring training, which pitchers and catchers are supposed to report on February 14th.
Yeah.
With that being Valentine's Day as well. Players and executives both anticipate the start of spring training to be delayed as well, with no real talks of anything going on as negotiations between the collective bargaining and between both owners and also obviously the Players Association is not going anywhere whatsoever. With all this going on, the last couple years of this happening now too, with Major League Baseball, the Players Association, and the owners, if any further delay to the start of the season for Major League Baseball, is this going to be absurd or approved the Major League Baseball to lose any possible fans due to the outcome of either side not coming to a resolution?
Well, I mean, yeah, they're going to lose more. I mean, they will lose more. And the thing is they've lost a lot, too. It's sad to see, man. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, there were a lot of people watching baseball, when Mark McGwire's, the guy, Barry Bonds, we talked about this with the Hall of Fame class and whatnot, with the steroid era, and people were tuning in. There's a lot of people that love baseball. And I mean, I do too. I mean, it's just, it's one of those things where neither side can come to an agreement, and it's kind of ridiculous at this point that they haven't. They've been in lockout since December 2nd. Their proposal, I don't give a damn about any of that right about now, and it's two sides wanting, this, wanting that, wanting to get all the money, we want this, well, we want that, well, we just come up with a deal. I think it is going to be delayed, and it just shows that Manfred's a clown too, and the clowns around him as well. But I'm not saying, I don't know the MLBPA guys, but it's just figure it out. Just sit in a room, figure it out, get the season going. Now, all these there's a lot of big free agents that are out there too that might sign with other teams. Don't count on the Twins, but Voldy, I think they're gonna lose money, and they're gonna lose even more fans, and people are gonna be disinterested. So that's just how it's gonna be. But Voldy, what do you got?
Obviously the fact that baseball continues to run into this the last couple of years, especially with the COVID, and then last year too, with that also being an issue, is not helping baseball at all, because people are already getting annoyed by the fact that games are 3.5, 4 hours long, 5, 6 hours if it's Yankees, Red Sox as well.
Right.
I'm looking at it from the standpoint of it just being, baseball needs to figure itself out, because the more the bickering continues, the more people, like you said, are getting disinterested from it. And we're not even talking about the game itself. We're talking about the fact that two groups of people can't see the greater good. Obviously, people want to get more money. Players want more money out of the owners because they continue to get their wallets nice and fat as well, while the players are the ones going out there actually doing the stuff. But at the end of the day, baseball needs to be played as well, and it just continues to be even more frustrating because this continues as well, because neither side wants to relent. Players don't want to look weak, and the owners don't want to give the players what they want, because that would mean that they would have less money at the end of the day. With the season most likely going to be delayed as well, I'm not surprised at all that if attendance may go down, but the same time, wouldn't be surprised if maybe it goes up just because of the fact that the start of the season being delayed is probably going to drive up more interest for people to come in. But I wouldn't be surprised if the numbers go down. It's got my stamp of approval.
Yep. And it's sad to see. I mean, it really is, because it's not only sad to see because, you know, they're trying to do things and then they're not trying to do things, and then when they try to do things, it's just a mess. So there's that as well. But I think it's just prolonging and/or putting off what we'll have to watch with the Twins this year too. So there's that to factor in, and free agency coming up, and I know I tweeted at our guy A-Train, but a lot of twiddling the thumbs a little bit for the Twins if they ever get going here with a new season. So let's see. All right. Well, good job with ARA Voldy. Skype tried to fight us, kept fighting us, and we just said, forget it. We're going to have Shield call in. I have a picture of you and Case, Voldy, on here as well, just to show that you're here. You got it. It looks pretty sweet and whatnot. So, and it's perfect because guess what? We got Shield shoutouts right up next. So let's get it going with some Shield shoutouts.
Shield shoutouts.
All right, we're back with Shield shoutouts. So, Shield, who you shouting out tonight?
Well, unfortunately, we do have to start off Shield shoutouts on a bit of a somber note as well. The hockey world did lose a great player in his own time as well. Former Rochester Ice Hawk Josh Phelps did lose his battle with illness earlier this week as well. He'd been battling for a number of years, and he was a great player in his own time, growing up in Rochester, playing for Century High School, taking them to state tournament, finishing third place, I believe it was 2007, might have been 2005, don't quote me directly on that. Played a handful of years for the Rochester Ice Hawks as well, part of their championship runs that they played in the Minnesota Junior Hockey League as well. But unfortunately, a good guy, hell of a hockey player, father, and friend, gone too soon, as Josh Phelps did pass away earlier this week. So we do want to send a Shield shout-out to Josh in his time, and also our thoughts and prayers with his family and extended hockey community as well. Do want to give a big Shield shout-out as well. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr., if you tuned in earlier and heard my probably will be coming out here later this week, if not early next week, with the replay of the show. You are tuned in for a dandy as well. 22 years, Tom Brady in the NFL. Not much else can be said for the GOAT except for GOAT out in that case as well. And we do say big Shield shout-out as well to Big Ben Roethlisberger, of course, officially announcing his retirement from the NFL this past week as well. Most definitely a Hall of Famer, and I would not be surprised if Brady and Roethlisberger go in together at the same time, maybe in the same Hall of Fame class. That would certainly be nice, especially with the careers that they had going up against each other, and also each other seeing great success in their careers as well. That's going to do it for Shield shoutouts this week.
Hey, we like it, especially the Brady stuff. You know, obviously, I'm just glad we got the Brady segment in for you.
Oh my God, seriously, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Flipped all the stuff in the Woods and Shore studios if that would have gotten cut off.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Oh, I don't blame you in that the least, Voldy. But we got it in. We got it in. That's the main thing. Great job with Shield shoutouts as always, and thank you for fighting with Skype. I don't know what's going on with Skype right now, but you're on our crap list. But obviously PG-13, sprinkle 13, all that deal. But there's some things happening, people. Before we do what we usually do at the end of the show, this is our last Facebook Live. Which is kind of weird, because we are moving over to YouTube. If you looked at the hype video, we had YouTube. We announced that we're moving to YouTube Live, and we're feeling really good about it. We've tested it out, and if you go to our YouTube page, you can check it out. And don't get us wrong here. We still are going to be posting to Facebook. It's nothing, different or anything like that. We still have the page. But now we're just moving over to YouTube. All you got to do is hit like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We'll be heading to YouTube next week. Obviously, test things out, make sure everything's working A-okay. So we're moving to YouTube next week. So we're looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it. All right. And then, as always, we got merch, people. We got some nice merch. We got shirts, $20, $5 shipping. We've got stickers, the small ones, $2. The big ones, $3 as well. So make sure you check that out too. And still taking orders for sweatshirts. Jimbo's working on finding our new distributor as well. So we appreciate him doing that. $40, $5 shipping. And then we got hats. We got nice hats as well. $20, $5 shipping. And this not only helps us get the show for you guys. This helps us keep this helps us keep the show on for you guys and whatnot with eCam and whatnot. So we appreciate everyone who's doing that for us. And check out W2 Performance, www.w2performance.com. Will Rattel doing a fantastic job. Wish he would have put a lot of more effort into Best Guess, but we'll forgive him, I guess. But he redeemed himself, as you saw in the hype video. So there's that with Voldy as well. But shout out National Fleet Graphic, Crown Rental, Tyler Knutson for the stickers. Great job. Check out Jack's Junkyard. Jack O'Keefe doing a great job. Breaking into the league with Sam Gabrielli, Ryan Martin, available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I believe they just had an NHLer on or a former NHLer on at some point, but work out a time to get on with those guys as well. So, interesting show, but hey, we made it through. We had a lot to talk about with Harbaugh. We had a lot to talk about with O'Connell probably becoming head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, which won't happen till after the Super Bowl. We talked about the Super Bowl, and we got the show in. That's the main thing, Wes. So we're gonna have some talks with the people with Skype. So we'll get that going. But we're approaching episode 100. We're looking forward to it. Hopefully you guys are too. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So as always, remember, folks, keep in the zone.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.